Comey testimony postponed so can consult with Mueller, this Drudge Report said. Former FBI head and Comey's predecessor at the FBI, Robert Mueller, is now the appointed Russian investigation special counsel. The question arises, why Comey would want to speak with Mueller before he speaks to Congress? What's up with that? Comey is now famous for having investigated and refused to press charges against Bill and Hillary Clinton at least 4 different times in his career in Washington, D.C., while his family appears to have benefited very nicely. Mueller is now famous for having delivered highly enriched uranium to Russia. He handed it over to Russia during his career as head of the FBI, and also is known for caving to the demands of Muslim groups during his same time span. Now we're supposed to expect that these two fair-minded individuals are going to meet within the next week before Comey speaks to Congress, and this is all okay? This sounds like another tarmac meeting. Do you think that Comey will have the conversation recorded, or will it be like the discussion Comey had with Hillary Clinton last year in regards to her criminal acts while as Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and not record the discussion? Apparently, far-left Politico thinks it's a big deal because they changed their reporting so not to highlight this meeting. This is on USA Politics Today.
Hello, friends. I've had a number of people asking me about what's going on with Donald Trump, and I thought that before I take off for my Elijah List cruise, it's going to be wild. Annabelle and I are going to be together on a ship for a couple of days with like 300 wild people. It'll be very interesting. I thought I'd give you a brief summary of where we're at. Let me see if I can turn my camera on here. And we'll just go to my home studio. As you know, we just improvise our way through the decade. Okay, let's take a look at this. Ought to work pretty good. There you are. So what's happening now? Let me share with you what's going on now. You might remember I told you before, people are crazy in this country. They're going to try to impeach Donald Trump. I even predicted that. The effort's going to begin from day one, from the pink hats to the foiled hats to the crazy, Berkeley, activity. Nothing that the left does is ever actually brought under scrutiny and reproach, but every little thing that Donald Trump does is going to be amplified and distorted. So here's what you got. Remember the Seven Mountain concept. By the way, this man didn't have a miracle getting him into office, only to have him removed by what's happening right now. So the quick word for you is he's not going to be going anywhere. But here's what you got. You got America like kind of in distress because we have a nation that is divided, and I'm telling you something, God put his foot in the door and stopped a disaster in America. And if the crazy people on the left that are after this agenda of destroying the president, if they would ever succeed, the dollar would tank and you'd be triggering that Great Depression or that great economic colossus meltdown that we've all worried about. However, that's not going to happen. God's given us a little bit of grace here. So, you know what I teach about these 7 mountains, right? You haven't heard it before. Now's no time for me to talk about that, except to say that the institutions that shape the mind of culture are controlled, and watch this, I said this all along, by whoever controls media. Media is the big deal. Media now is the servant of a political agenda. It used to be that media was separate from politics. But media now is politics. In fact, I hate to say it, but most media is the outlet of the agitated progressive left. So Harvard Kennedy School just came out with a study today that media has set a new standard for bias and negativity. In America and in Europe, 80% of the news coverage is biased against this president. The New York Times is 83 to 87% biased against him. NBC and CNN, here we go, 93% antagonistic view of everything Trump does. If he blows his nose in the wrong direction, it's considered a micro-offense. 96% of his coverage on immigration is negative, 87% on healthcare is negative, 81% is questioning if the man's mentally even stable or fit. This is what I was saying is a spirit. Now here's where this really gets crazy. There's a spirit called Leviathan. And I teach on this thing, and Leviathan is a spirit that works. It's called the twisting serpent. It works by twisting the meaning of words and ideas in such a way that it disconnects and dismembers that which God puts together. So the spirit of Leviathan works by like a crocodile. It's a creature of the Nile. Frankly, it's a creature that is in the swamp. Isn't that ironic? So the crocodile, it goes up and grabs a limb. It takes anything. I'll talk about Mike Flynn for a minute. By the way, Mike Flynn was vetted by the Obama administration. The only reason he reached the short list for Donald Trump is the Obama administration had hired him. Did anybody tell you that lately? It's like Trump had this guy in his back pocket in Queens and brought him out from the Don Corleone family to join his mafia political coup. So what the spirit does is it latches onto a limb, and then it uses all of its strength to do what's called a death spiral. The death spiral twists and dismembers. Every tweet, every syllable, every word that Donald Trump says will be seized upon because Leviathan actually has multiple heads. This is a weird thing. The Bible says that God wounded the heads of Leviathan in the wilderness. Important that when the church is transitioning, and this is the month of transition, this is the month of Issachar when hidden things are made known. Next month is we're moving into the period of Pentecost. The children of Israel came out last month in the Bible calendar of the Hebrews. This month they're in the wilderness. We have to pray that God will wound the heads of Leviathan and will dismember that which is trying to twist and dismember this administration. And if the church doesn't pray in unity, and most Christians are like, they're all full of fear or they're in total denial that they have to get involved with the battle at all. They just want to spiritize everything. Reduce everything to some kind of Mount Carmel conflict, waiting for God to show up and do a miracle service. You've got to go in and actually be a force in all 7 of these arenas. It's our absence in journalism and government that is producing the chaos this spirit is able to manipulate. All right, so we've got this media and political alignment going on right now, and these are strongholds that are being controlled by the spirit in the swamp. Isn't that ironic that the Bible talks about this stuff? Alan Dershowitz, liberal Democrat Alan Dershowitz, by the way, a Harvard professor, has some really interesting stuff. I'm always tracking with him. He says, look, the thing with Comey, what are we talking about? There is no Russia evidence of collusion between Donald Trump. There is no crime there. So you don't need a special counsel to oversee an investigation to Russia unless there's a crime. So he says it's a mistake to even put a prosecutor on the case to go find evidence, because they always try to find something. And so he says, first of all, there's no criminal evidence of any charges, so there should be no special counsel. Second, firing Comey is not an obstruction of justice.
Chapter 12. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,335 days. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest, and stand in thy lot at the end of the day.
This crooked media, you talk about crooked Hillary, they're worse than she is.
will show the world that America is going to be strong again, stronger than ever before. Stronger militarily than ever before. And hopefully we don't have to use our military. But we're going to be stronger than ever before. And there's rarely been a time when we've needed this strength more than we have right now. But in order to succeed with our defense policy, we must find the right person to lead our Defense Department. Is that right? This is why I'm proud to formally announce today my intention to nominate General James Mad Dog Mattis as the next Secretary of Defense for the United States of America. Jim is a Marine Corps four-star general, the former commander of U.S. Central Command and NATO's Supreme Allied Commander. For transformation, this is going to be so great for us. He led an assault battalion in Operation Desert Storm. And you saw what that happened. What happened, that was the way you're supposed to lead it. There was no games. Mad Dog plays no games, right? Led the forces that went after the Taliban and commanded the 1st Marine Division in Iraq. He is one of the most effective generals that we've had in many, many decades. An extraordinary leader of our time who has committed his life to his love for our country. General Mattis is the living embodiment of the Marine Corps motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. And the American people are fortunate that a man of this character and integrity will now be the civilian leader atop the Department of Defense. Under his leadership, right? Under his leadership, such an important position, we will rebuild our military and alliances, destroy terrorists, face our enemies head on, and make America safe again. It is now my honor and privilege to welcome to the stage your next Secretary of Defense, General Mad Dog Mattis. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, President-elect, for the confidence that you have shown in me. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful for the opportunity to return to our troops, their families, the civilians of the Department of Defense, because I know how committed they are and devoted they are to the defense of our country, the defense of our Constitution. And with our allies strengthened, with our country strengthened, I look forward to being the civilian leader so long as the Congress gives me the waiver and the Senate votes to consent. Thank you very much.
Here's something that I don't mean to freak you out with, but I think is true. Even our memories are not absolutely private in America. Right? Any of us can be compelled, in appropriate circumstances, to say what we remember, what we saw. Even our communications with our spouses, with our clergymen.
President Trump, Donald, Sarah and I are absolutely delighted to welcome you and Melania to the Prime Minister's residence in Jerusalem, the eternal capital of the Jewish people, the united capital of the Jewish state. We've known each other for many years, and it's always good to see you. But it's also wonderful to see the blossoming friendship between our two beautiful wives, Sarah and Melania. You're so welcome here, and we're so pleased to see you. We're honored to have you in our home. You've been today, Mr. President, to the Western Wall, one of the holiest sites of Judaism. You've been to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, one of the holiest sites of Christianity. We protect the Christian sites as no one else does anywhere in this region. We protect Christian sites, Muslim sites, obviously Jewish sites. We're committed to the freedom of all faiths and to the rights of all. Mr. President, I appreciate the fact that you went to the Western Wall and you're the first acting president who's done that. The people of Israel applaud you for it. We had a terrific discussion today, and when I say terrific, it encompasses everything. We could talk about deregulation, we could talk about economics. I think we quote each other. We understand each other and so much of the things that we wish to accomplish for both our countries. But I want to thank you especially today for your deep commitment to Israel's security, its well-being, and its future. I have no doubt that as we work together, you and I, the alliance between our countries will grow ever stronger. I want you to know how much we appreciate the change in American policy on Iran, which you enunciated so clearly just an hour ago. I want you to know how much we appreciate your bold decision to act against the use of chemical weapons in Syria. And I want to tell you also how much we appreciate the reassertion of American leadership in the Middle East. I look forward to working closely with you to confront the dangers we face together in this violent and volatile Middle East. I believe that together we could roll back Iran's march of aggression and terror in this region, and we can thwart Iran's unbridled ambition to become a nuclear weapon state. I also look forward to working closely with you to advance peace in our region, because you have noted so succinctly that common dangers are turning former enemies into partners. And that's where we see something new and potentially something very promising. It won't be simple, but for the first time in many years, and Mr. President, for the first time in my lifetime, I see a real hope for change. The Arab leaders who you met yesterday could help change the atmosphere, and they could help create the conditions for a realistic peace. These are all great signs on your historic visit. It's a visit that I think has echoed down the ages, because the great Abraham Lincoln is reported to have said that there was no city on earth he so much desired to see as Jerusalem. Well, Mr. President Donald, there's no city on earth where you are more welcome than right here with us in Jerusalem. Welcome to Jerusalem. Welcome to Israel.
Thank you very much, and it's a great honor to be with my good friend, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and of course, Sarah, thank you. And also thank you for that beautiful tour. Melania is still talking about it. So thank you very much. You honored me and Melania by being one of the first world leaders to visit the White House, as you know. And we had a very good and sound discussion. And now you honor us again by welcoming us to your home
on my first trip abroad as the President of the United States. This is a land filled with beauty, wonder, and the Spirit of God. I've been amazed by the glorious and beautiful monuments and holy sites and the generosity of your incredible people.
Thank you.
Because it's all about the people. I was deeply moved by my visit today to the Western Wall. Words fail to capture the experience. It will leave an impression on me forever.